We are live.
Good evening, distinguished guests, respected educators, policymakers, innovators, entrepreneurs, students, and friends joining us from every corner in the world. On behalf of World Education Policy, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to day 2 of the WEP Global Summit 2026. I am Maribel Hopgood, and I serve as the Communications and Media Officer for World Education Policy, otherwise also known as WEP. Yesterday, we began an extraordinary global conversation on reimagining education for a connected world, exploring how collaborations across nations, institutions, and sectors can transform education for future generations. Tonight, we continue that journey. Our theme, Future Ready Education, Preparing Learners for 2030 and Beyond, invites us to think boldly about the knowledge, skills, values, and leaderships our learners will need to thrive in a rapidly changing world. Artificial intelligence, digital transformation, global citizenship, innovation, lifelong learning. These are no longer concepts for tomorrow. They are realities shaping education today. Over the next 2 hours, we will hear from remarkable leaders representing multiple countries, each bringing unique perspectives on how we can build education systems that are more innovative, inclusive, resilient, and human centered. Thank you all for joining us. So let us begin. So before we begin our program, we proudly acknowledge the organizations whose shared vision has made this summit possible. We'll begin with World Education Policy, or WEP, the International Internship University, otherwise also known as IIU, the Global Festival 2027, and also each organization serves a distinct purpose. Together they represent one shared mission, and that is building a better future through education, innovation, leadership, and international collaboration. Together they remind us that the future is not built alone, it is built together. And it is now my honor to acknowledge the visionary leader whose commitment to education has inspired this growing international movement. She's the founder of World Education Policy, founder of International Internship University, convener of Global Festival. His vision continues to unite educations, institutions, governments, and communities around the world on one powerful belief, that education remains the greatest force for peace, opportunity, and sustainable development. Please join me in welcoming Advocate Piyush Pandit. I'm not sure if he can be here with us today. If you can confirm that in the group, thank you. He's not able to be here, but we want to acknowledge Advocate Pandit for everything he does, especially bringing us and convening us together in this very important platform and this very important conference this morning. So our first speaker, has dedicated her life to creating opportunities through education, entrepreneurship, and around the world. As president of World Education Policy, Chief Executive Officer of the International Internship University, and Global Project Director of Global Festival, she continues building partnerships that connect people, ideas, and nations. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Virginia Rivera to the virtual podium. Dr. Rivera, the podium is all yours.
Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are around the world. To all of our distinguished guests, respected speakers, educators, policymakers, innovators, entrepreneurs, students, and friends joining us from around the world, it takes all of us. It takes a village to make this happen. It is my great honor to welcome you to day 2 of the World Education Policy Global Summit 2026. Over these past 2 days, we have gathered not simply to discuss education, but to ask one of the most important questions of our time. How do we prepare today's learners for tomorrow's world? That question lies at the heart of what World Education Policy does. Let me explain a little bit about who we are. World Education Policy, or WEP, was founded by Advocate Piyush Pandit with a bold vision to create a global platform where education leaders, policymakers, researchers, institutions, and communities could come together to shape knowledge, inspire innovation, and advocate for one of humanity's most fundamental rights, the right of every person to a quality education. In 2023, I was deeply honored to accept the responsibility of serving as president of World Education Policy. Since then, our journey has been one of listening, learning, and leading. We have studied educational policies from around the world. We have visited countries, engaged with educators, government officials, researchers, school leaders, entrepreneurs, and community and grassroots organizations. We have learned directly from the realities the children, teachers, and families experience every single day. Rather than simply observing, we have chosen to become bridges between nations, sectors, ideas, and people. We believe that meaningful policy is built not only in boardrooms, but also in classrooms, communities, and conversations. This field work that we have done for the past 3 years has prepared us for this very moment. Today, world education policy is more than an organization. We're a force of change. We're a global movement, a movement that believes education should be innovative, yet very inclusive. We know that so many stay behind. Future ready, yet deeply human. AI is here, but the most important thing is the human centered relationship. Globally connected, yet locally relevant. We can't do what other countries do. We need to really localize everything and bring it to where we're at. I'm incredibly proud of the remarkable team that is helping bring this vision to life. We have a group of Chief Country Officers. They provide leadership within their countries. They build relationships, they identify challenges, and they reflect local realities while contributing to a shared global vision. We have a dedicated core team. They work tirelessly behind the scenes, researching, transforming ideas into action, and ensuring that our initiatives create meaningful impact and that they're here to stay. And we have carefully selected our World Education Policy ambassadors. They have accepted one of the greatest responsibilities of our time, advocating for and safeguarding every person's fundamental right to a quality education. They serve not only as our representatives of WEP, but as champions for learners and communities across the world. So what makes WEP unique is that we understand education cannot be transformed by educators alone. Real change happens when all stakeholders come together. That is why our community continues to grow with educators, policymakers, innovators, researchers, civic organizations, scientists, grassroots leaders, entrepreneurs, parents, students, and the community that rallies and advocates working side by side. Global Leadership Council is forming now, and it's under the president's leadership. I have the privilege to be working with every single one of these. I would like to mention them now. Chief Country Officer Theo Aquinola from Romania, Ambassador Dr. Maureen Mia from South Africa, Dr. Shavidya Sukumar, United Arab Emirates, Maha Shhadeh from Lebanon, Dr. Oliver Ramavia from Botswana, Dr. Nausheen Nurmamod from Mauritius, and Dr. Maria Elizabeth Islas from Mexico. Our core team is built by Maribel Hopgood, Communications and Public Affairs Director from Puerto Rico, Andrea da Silva, Governance and Policy Director from Norway, Dr. Krupa Mehta, she is our India-USA Liaison and Digital Education Director, Ryan Odiombo, Student Support and Mentorship Director from Kenya, Sasha Kaluri, Parent and Student Affairs Director from Australia, Sumitra Singh, Dr. Sumitra Singh, Academics and Research Director from India, Dr. Shruti Kulkarni, Counsel and Guidance Director from India. And we also have Tarang, he is also part of our Counsel and Guidance Director in India. Together, these leaders represent a growing international network committed to advancing quality education, educational policy, innovation, collaboration, and equitable opportunities for learners. We have just welcomed into our CCOs, Ona Miller, Dr. Ona Miller. Right now she's in Africa, and I don't know if she'll be able to make it, but we would love to say hello if she watches this video afterward. As you see, every voice matters, every perspective strengthens our mission. Because of the future, education, because of us, the future of education will not be built by one nation, one institution, or one leader alone. We know this. It will be built through collaboration, shared vision, and collective action. As we continue today's discussions on future ready education, preparing learners for 2030 and beyond, I invite each of you to think beyond today's challenges and really imagine the possibilities that emerge when we work together. And that is the value of what we are doing today. These conversations we have today have the potential to influence classrooms, shape policies, inspire innovation, and create opportunities for millions. I just want to say some stats that we heard yesterday. 773 million people can't read or write. 273 million children do not have access at this moment to quality education or to education. 75% of all of these stats are in Asia. So let's really think about how we can all contribute and also how we can make accountable those that are in charge. That is our biggest challenge. Thank you for lending your voice for this force of change, and thank you for helping us build a future where education is accessible, it's equitable, it's innovative, and transformative for every learner. Thank you again. Thank you, Maribel. And I just wanted to say, Maribel Hopgood will be here with us today again. And truly, she did a phenomenal job yesterday. To learn more about Maribel as the day goes by. Thank you. Thank you, Maribel.
Thank you as well, Dr. Rivera. Thank you so much, first of all, for those inspiring words, for reminding us of such compelling statistics, and for the call to action that's so important, and that is what's bringing us today and giving us the hope that we're here today once again to discuss possible solutions and by way of collaborating together. So once again, thanks for your leadership, and thank you for bringing all of us together as well. And it is now my privilege to introduce our distinguished chief special guest for this evening. She's an internationally respected humanitarian, a human rights advocate, a diplomat, and founder of the International Human Rights Institute. Her work demonstrates that education and human rights are inseparable, and that every learner deserves dignity, opportunity, and hope. Please welcome Her Excellency Ambassador Janet Mata to the virtual podium. Ambassador Mata, the virtual podium is all yours.
Thank you
Welcome.
so much, and thank you all for having me, Virginia, and all of you, IIU, all of you. Thank you. It is my honor to be among such great leaders from around the world. So, good morning here, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, respected diplomats, educators, university leaders, and fellow advocates for human dignity and global progress. It is both an honor and a profound responsibility to join this distinguished gathering as we reflect on the theme, Reimagining Education for a Connected World. At the heart of our discussion lies one of humanity's most powerful and transformative rights, the right to education. Education is not a privilege reserved for the fortunate, nor is it a commodity to be distributed according to geography, economic status, or social circumstance. Education is a universal right inherent to every individual by virtue of their humanity. This principle was affirmed by the international community in Article 26 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which proclaims that everyone has the right to education, and has been reinforced through the Convention on the Rights of the Child, the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, and through the global commitment embodied in Sustainable Development Goal number 4, which is quality education for all. Yet, despite these commitments, we find ourselves facing a profound paradox. Never in human history have we possessed such extraordinary technological capabilities to connect, to educate, and empower humanity. And yet, millions of children and young people remain excluded from equality education because of poverty, conflict, displacement, discrimination, gender inequality, disability, or simply the circumstances of where they were born. This reality compels us to ask a fundamental question. What does it really truly mean to speak of a connected world if millions remain disconnected from the opportunities that education provides. A connected world cannot merely be defined by digital infrastructure, artificial intelligence, or technological innovation. True connectivity must be measured by our collective ability to ensure that every learner, regardless of nationality, social economic condition, race, gender, or circumstance, has equitable access to knowledge, opportunity, and human development. Because education is far more than transmission of information. Education is empowerment, protection, social mobility, and it's peace building. Education is one of the most powerful instruments we possess for reducing inequality and advancing human dignity. From a human rights perspective, education, often described as an enabling right, a right that makes the enjoyment of countless other rights possible. It empowers individuals to participate fully in civic life, access meaningful employment, advocate for justice, exercise freedom of expression, and contribute to the social and economic development of their communities. Conversely, when education is denied, inequality deepens, social exclusion widens, and cycles of poverty and vulnerability are perpetuated across generations. The question before us then is not whether education is important. The question is whether we possess the collective courage to reimagine educational systems that are fully inclusive, equitable, and fit for the realities of the 21st century. To reimagine education in a connected world requires us to rethink not only access, but also purpose. The future of education must be inclusive, ensuring that no learner is left behind, human-centered, placing dignity, ethics, and social responsibility at the core of learning, globally minded, preparing individuals to understand our shared humanity and interconnected challenges, digitally equitable, ensuring that technology becomes an instrument of inclusion rather than another layer of inequality, and above all, transformational, equipping learners not merely to adapt to change, but to lead change. However, there is another reality we must acknowledge. Human rights challenges do not stop at borders, and neither should the solutions. The right to education can no longer be viewed solely through a national lens. Educational inequality is one region ultimately affects economic stability, migration patterns, social cohesion, and human development far beyond its borders. This is why global collaboration is not simply desirable, it is essential. Ensuring equitable access to quality education requires unprecedented cooperation among governments, universities, international organizations, businesses, civil society organizations, and local communities. No single nation, institution, or sector can close educational disparities alone. When we collaborate globally, we create stronger systems that protect rights and expand access to education, healthcare, economic opportunity, and peace. Global partnerships have the power to bridge the digital divide, strengthen educational systems during times of crisis, expand opportunities for marginalized populations, and foster the exchange of knowledge and innovation across continents. When we collaborate globally, we do far more than improve educational outcomes. We advance human dignity, we promote justice, we strengthen social cohesion, and we create pathways toward sustainable development and lasting peace. The future of education depends not merely on connectivity through technology, but on connectivity through shared responsibility. Educational justice is no longer simply a national aspiration. It is a global obligation. The leaders gathered here today understand that the defining challenges of our century, climate change, migration, conflict, technological disruption, and growing inequality, cannot be addressed through isolated efforts. They require educated citizens capable of critical thinking, ethical leadership, intercultural understanding, and collaborative problem solving. This is why education must be viewed not as an expenditure, but as one of humanity's most strategic investments. It's an investment in education. An investment in education is an investment in peace, is an investment in economic resilience, and it's an investment in democracy, human rights, and global stability. The measure of our progress as a global society will not be found solely in technological innovation or economic growth. It will be found in whether a child in a rural village, a refugee in a temporary settlement, a girl facing systemic barriers, or a learner with disabilities possesses the same opportunity to access quality education as anyone else. Because where a person is born should never determine the quality of education they receive or the magnitude of their dreams. In a truly connected world, education must become the great equalizer, bridging divides, expanding possibilities, and reaffirming the inherent dignity and potential of every human being. If we are truly committed to reimagining education for a connected world, then we must also reimagine our collective responsibility toward one another. Because every child denied an education is not merely a local concern, it is a loss for humanity. Every learner empowered through education becomes a force for innovation, peace, and progress that benefits us all. So let us therefore commit ourselves to a world where collaboration transcends borders, where opportunity is not determined by geography, and where the fundamental right to education is protected, not as an aspiration for some, but as a guaranteed for all. For in the end, a connected world will not be defined by the technologies we build, but by the humanity we choose to advance together. Thank you all for having me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Mata, for such inspiring words and such compelling information that you share with us, especially the framework by which we can potentially create some solutions to bridge this gap, especially you can do it in a collaborative way. So once again, thank you. I'm sure I speak on behalf of everyone in this group that your words
Thank
really
you.
inspire and uplift us to what we can all do together
Thank you.
in such a serious topic. Once again, thanks. Thank you for your time and your participation.
Thank you.
And now we're moving on to our feature speaker part of the program. And our first feature speaker, she serves as the Executive Director of Global Affairs for the International Internship University and WEP Chief Country Officer for Lebanon. She has become an important bridge connecting educators and leaders across borders through dialogue and collaboration. Please welcome to the virtual podium, Maha Shhadeh. Maha, the virtual podium is all yours.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, dear. Just give me 1 minute to share my my screen.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. Just to make sure before I'm going to start, can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Thank you. Just making sure of that. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, distinguished guests, respected educators, global leader, and dear participant. Actually, it's a great honor to join you today at this important conference organized by WEP. Today, actually, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to speak about one of the most important topics shaping our future, which is how to reimagine education for a connected world. Today, we are not simply discussing schools or classroom. We are discussing the future of humanity itself. Nelson Mandela once said, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use it to change the world. And today, this quote is more relevant than others. Education is not only about academic achievement, it's about empowering people, reducing inequality, building peace, and creating opportunities. Equality education system can transform entire nation. This is why education should never be seen as a luxury, but as a fundamental human right. Why quality education matters? Quality education actually is the foundation of every successful society. Without education, poverty is going to increase, opportunities disappear, and communities struggle to grow. But if we are going to have educations, innovation is going to flourish, economics develop, and people gain the power to improve their lives. So education is also directly connected to the sustainable development goals, especially if, in fact, if we're going to speak about SDG 4, quality education that support all the goals because educated societies are stronger, healthier, and more sustainable. Education is education in a rapidly changing world. Actually, we are living nowadays in a time of a massive global transformation, especially if we are going to speak about artificial intelligence. Nowadays, artificial intelligence is changing industries. Technology is reshaping communication. Students today face mental health challenge, digital overload, and uncertainty. They are not sure about their future. This means traditional education alone is no longer enough. Memorization is no longer the main skill students need. Instead, we need actually what we must prepare learner to is we need to help them how to think in a critical way, how to adapt quickly, how to solve the problem, and how to navigate a constantly changing world. Our mission is not only to prepare students for the exam, but actually we need as educator to prepare students for life itself. What students need, if we are going to speak about what students need, the future belongs to the students who can think creatively, who can communicate effectively, who can collaborate globally and use technology in a responsible way. Students today need more than academic knowledge itself. They need emotional intelligence, digital literacy, resilience, leadership skills, and ethical awareness. Education should help students discover not only information, but also purpose and identity, especially in the world of artificial intelligence, where knowledge is not just enough. We need to know how to use the information, not just to have the information itself. True education actually develop both the mind and the character at the same time. When it comes to education, we need both the teachers and the students as well. So teachers hold one of the most powerful responsibilities in society. Every leader, doctor, scientist, and innovator was once inspired by a teacher. Teachers do far more than teach lessons. They motivate, guide, support, and shape futures. Today, teachers are expected to adapt to technology, to support emotional well-being, to personalize learning, and inspire students, often under great pressure. This is why it's very important to support teachers themselves. When we are going to invest in teacher, actually we are going to invest in the generations as a whole. Artificial intelligence, especially when it comes to education. Artificial intelligence nowadays is transforming education worldwide. AI can help teachers personalize learning, create differentiated instruction, support struggling learners, and save valuable time. But at the same time, AI should never replace the human connection in education. Technology can provide information, but teachers provide inspiration, empathy, and wisdom. The future of education should combine innovation with humanity, technology with ethics, and intelligence with compassion. Coming from Lebanon, actually, I have witnessed how education become a symbol of hope during difficult times. Many students in my country continue learning despite economic hardships we suffer from, instability, displacement, and the crisis. This reminds us that education is much more important than academic success itself. For many children, education nowadays in my country represents safety, dignity, stability, and hope for a better future. A classroom can become a place where dreams survive despite a challenge. As educators and the global leader, we share a collective responsibility together. We must create educational systems that promote inclusion, protect equal opportunities, integrate ethical AI, support mental health, and encourage creativity and innovation. No child actually is supposed to be left behind because of poverty, because of conflict, disability, or because of a geography. Education must become a bridge that unites humanity, not something that divides it. Global collaboration actually in education is no longer optional. It is supposed to be a necessity. I just want to conclude my presentation by saying that when we educate one child, actually, we change generations. I would like we change for a generation. Education creates ripple effects far beyond the classroom itself. One educated child can transform a family, a community, a nation, and even the world. Thank you once again for this honor. Thank you for giving me the chance to be with you today, and for every educator participating with us today. And thank you for continuing to believe in the power of education to inspire, heal, and transform humanity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maha. Thank you. The perspective of educators is so important when we speak on this matter. And thank you for sharing such key insights and some actionable items that can be implemented immediately. So thank you once again for your time and for sharing such clear information that we can all implement. Thanks again.
To interrupt and just appreciate Dr. Maha Shhadeh because throughout everything that's happening, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep. Throughout everything that's happening in Lebanon, Maha has continued to support not only WEP, but also IIU. She's definitely an incredible ally to have. And I just wanted to call it out because I know the hardships that are happening, not only in her country, but all over the world. But she still continues to be there with us. So thank you, Maha, for everything that you do.
Likewise. Thanks again. Thank you so much. And now, thanks everyone for continuing to join us. We are moving on to the panel portion of our program. We're now going to introduce our panelists. Let me tell you a little bit about what will happen today. We are going to have a discussion about future-ready education, preparing learners for 2030 and beyond. Today, education faces unprecedented change. Artificial intelligence is transforming classrooms. Technology is reshaping careers. Students will enter professions that do not yet exist. The question is no longer whether education should change. The question actually is, how do we prepare our learners for a future we cannot yet imagine? To help us answer this question, we are honored to welcome an outstanding international panel. I will go ahead and introduce all our panels first, and then I'll ask questions for all of them. So our first panel in attendance is Hara Gadour. She's the Lebanon Country Director of IIU and founder of the Educators for Peace initiative. Hara is a passionate advocate for education as a bridge to dialogue, hope, and peace building. Welcome to our panel, Hara. We also have joining us Salman Karim. She's an English language instructor, TEFL educator, academic content specialist, and EdTech professional. Salman is committed to preparing learners for success in an increasingly digital and interconnected world. We welcome him to the panel as well. Welcome, Salman. We have also Nahid Rasa, an educator, entrepreneur, and advocate innovator. Nahid continues to champion educational excellence and global partnerships that inspire meaningful change. Welcome this evening, Nahid Rasa. We also have Dr. Sumitra Singh, a respected educator dedicated to holistic learning and student development. Dr. Singh believes education should nurture both knowledge and character. We welcome you, Dr. Singh. We also have Dr. Oliver Rambaya, an education leader from Botswana, committed to strengthening educational systems throughout Africa through collaboration and innovation. We welcome Dr. Oliver to our panel. We also welcome Dr. Gupta Mehta, a distinguished academic and advocate for educational innovation, whose work encourages future-focused learning and leadership. We welcome you, Dr. Gupta Mehta. And we also have Dr. Shameful Banji, who's also in our panel this evening, a committed committed professional in education. And I will say that some of our panelists may not be in presence at this moment, but I wanted to introduce all of them as due to technology and some technical difficulties, they may be able to join us throughout the panel. So I wanted you to have an idea. If I see that they're able to join, I will include them to be a part of our panel. So now that we've introduced our panel, I want to also thank you all for being here today. Your ideas remind us that preparing learners for tomorrow requires courage, innovation, and collaboration today. We now continue our program with this. We now will begin our panel. So I will ask questions next. And if you please provide me with a second, as our questions are, my apologies, technical difficulties as well. Let me begin with the question. How do we prepare learners for a future that we cannot yet imagine? And I will go ahead and begin with our first speaker. And again, my apologies. I am welcoming Hazra Gadur to the virtual podium. Please let us know your answer.
Who did you ask?
Hazra, maybe she's not in attendance yet, so we'll go ahead and begin with Salman Karim. If you could please, the podium is yours.
Yes, greetings, madam. So the question was, how do we prepare for the next decade? And I feel that it's through global collaboration, it's through critical thinking and problem solving, it's through digital and AI literacy, and we will be explaining certain facts. If we go deep down, we saw in the first day of the panel that we discussed about SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. Coming to the present situation where there is a diverse situations of different countries, we need greater adaptability where we can have that ability to adapt to the different situations. We can have digital and AI literacy where AI is being taught how to be used. We can also have global collaborations where there are built-in learning stations where the learning can be dissipated to different stages through rural areas or places where things are not that easy in terms of school. So if there are people who are not getting the quality education, there should be learning stations, there should be situations where education is made beyond just the classrooms. There's also one thing that I wanted to add is that while we are inculcating education for the future, we should also think about how we bring about the global collaboration through one nation, not only through one nation, but through one education, through multiple layers and through multiple policies. One thing is there that when we see through different nations, there are different situations. And through those different situations and cultures, we learn them about what are the situations are there. Not every country will have the same situation. But through the adversities, we learn that we need to inculcate certain programs which can help in global collaboration. So this is what I wanted to contribute. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing such important insights. And now I would like to welcome Dr. Sumitra Singh to the virtual podium to share your insights.
Thank you so much, Maribel, for conducting the panel discussion so very well. How do we prepare the students for future is a very tough question for every citizen of the world and also for educators like us. So having been in academics for more than I think 20 years, more than 20 years in academics, I believe that every student, which has happened in India with National Education Policy 2022-2020, it says that every student is a global citizen. So global citizenship and cultural intelligence of the entire globe should be encompassed into each student. I think that should be one factor. I'll tell you the reason why. The reason being that In India, we consider the entire world as one global village. Vishwa Vasudha Ek Kutum. So the entire world is one global village. So meaning thereby, be it the challenge of climate change, pandemics, cyber threats, sustainability, or anything that transcends the national borders. We have to prepare the learners of today and the future ready professionals that they become global citizens who understand the diversity. And as the previous speaker said, they need to collaborate across cultures and respect different perspectives. After all, what is the ultimate goal of education? Am I audible?
Yes. It,
After
it,
all,
it
what is
broke
the
it broke a
ultimate goal
little
of...
bit, but we can hear you.
Okay. Ultimately, what is the goal of education? The goal of education is man making and character building education, which creates a better world. So, education must cultivate not only intelligence, but also intercultural understanding and compassion, number one. Second thing is, we have to teach the students of today and the architects of tomorrow's global world that in the age of machines, do not forget that you are a human being. Human skills are acquired in the age of machines. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, and other disruptive AI technologies certainly are a way in which the scientific work or any day to day work can be done easily. But then do not forget the touch of a human being as a teacher. Computers cannot replace a teacher. Why? Because the values and the value systems are inculcated by the teacher while he or she is teaching in the classroom. And that is why, in this artificial intelligence world, human qualities become very valuable. Emotional intelligence, empathy, leadership, collaboration between the students of one country, inter-country, intra-country, across the world, ethical reasoning and resilience. This is all very, very important. What is more important is ethics in whichever profession you are in. Imagine a world where people are having great knowledge base, and imagine a society which is led by education. Don't you think that in such a society there will be less cyber attacks? Don't you think there will be less thefts? Don't you think there will be less crime? So let us not forget that the future students or future education has to be an immersive learning in which emerging technologies like virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, simulation, digital literacy, everything is there. But human being human will be beyond everything, because education in the future will be to sustain the cultures. It will be to sustain humanities, and technology alone cannot guarantee a better future. So, future ready education must be totally rooted in ethics, sustainability, and responsibility, just like how International Internship University and World Education Policy has been doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your insights. Very compelling once again. And now moving on, I'd like to introduce Hafra Gadur to the virtual podium. Welcome to the program. And the question is, how do we prepare learners for a future we cannot yet imagine? The virtual podium is all yours. I see you, but I think it's frozen. So let me know if you can hear me. Hafra Gadur, can you hear me? We may be having technical difficulties, so I'll give her a minute. I know she's joining us from Lebanon, so I'm going to go ahead and move over to Dr. Shamful Banji, who's also one of our panelists. If you could unmute yourself and help us answer this question. How do we prepare learners for a future we cannot yet imagine?
Peace greetings to all present here. Please allow me to switch off my camera. I am Professor Sipia Shadul Banji from Tanzania. Global competence refers to the skills, attitudes, and behaviors necessary to thrive in an ever-changing and complex world. It's a transformative lens through which we can reimagine our education system and ensure that every student is future ready. So, what are the 6 global competences? Deep learning is the process of acquiring the 6 global competencies also referred to as 6Cs: character, citizenship, communication, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking. According to the World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs report, in the next 5 years, 85 million jobs will be displaced by a shift in the division of labor between humans and machines. At the same time, nearly 100 million new roles could emerge, creating significant skills gap, and higher demand for core competencies related to the green economy, system analysis, business intelligence, data and AI, and engineering, together with the continuing need for people, culture, and care skills. In a few years, over 1/3 of skills considered important in today's workforce will have changed. Some jobs will disappear, others will expand, and new roles will emerge. Hence, the goal should be to develop a holistic approach to education that enables the student to excel as lifelong learners with a range of skills to realize their longer-term goals and aspirations. It should include a range of skills, attributes, and behaviors, holistic, inclusive, and universally applicable, related to cognitive, self-leadership, interpersonal, digital, and global categories. In recent years, educational research has highlighted the significance of signature pedagogies, specific approaches to teaching that effectively foster the development of life competencies. However, these are not simply add-ons to existing curriculum content. Instead, they require a rethinking of pedagogical practices to integrate life competencies into everyday teaching. This approach ensures that competencies are not just taught in isolation, but woven in the fabric of learning experiences. I hope I've done enough justice to my question. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Banji, for sharing such incredible insight. And of course, you did answer the question fantastically. Now, moving on with our panel, I'd like to introduce Nahid Rasa to please join our virtual podium. And once again, help us answer the question, how do we prepare learners for a future we cannot yet imagine? The virtual podium is yours, Mr. Rasa.
Thank you. I stand before you today with a vision, a dream for education that reaches beyond the classroom, beyond the test, beyond the timetable. We must shape schools not merely as factories of facts, but as workshops of courage, imagination, and compassion. If we are to prepare learners for 2030 and beyond, we must demand an education that teaches not only what is known, but how to learn, how to adapt, and how to live others as we rise. Please allow me to answer your question. We will build schools that cultivate curiosity, where questions are reprised as the teach young minds to think critically, to weigh evidence, and to challenge comfortable assumptions. For the future will not reward rote recall. It will reward those who ask better questions, who can untangle complexity, and who can invent solutions that serve the common good. As I have said before, in the spirit, the arc of learning bends towards understanding when guided by courage. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rasa, for sharing such insights. And moving on with our panel, now I'd like to introduce Dr. Oliver. I believe he's with us right now, Dr. Oliver Rambaya. Welcome to this international virtual podium. And if you can help us answer the question, how do we prepare learners for a future we cannot yet imagine? Welcome once again, Oliver. Just give him a second. It looks like he's in a vehicle. Can you hear us? Welcome. Welcome to the panel.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Dr. Oliver Junior Ramaja. I'm sorry for coming in late. I just got off work. So I'm Chief Officer of Board Education Policy from Botswana. First of all, I think the next decade will be defined by disruption. For example, AI, climate change, automation, and global interconnectedness. Technical skills alone will not be enough. So I think students need a dual skill set. This is human plus digital, and these are the 6 most critical areas. And the 6 most critical areas are critical thinking and problem solving. I think AI can give us answers, but humans must ask the right questions. Students need to analyze information and spot bias and solve complex real-world problems that don't have one correct answer. And this is the foundation of innovation. And the second solution is digital literacy and AI fluency. Not just coding. Students must understand how AI works, how to use it as a tool, how to check its accuracy, and how to use data ethically. And AI literacy basically will be as basic as reading literacy by 2030. So the third solution is adaptability and lifelong learning. The job as a student trains for today may not exist in 2035 or 2040. So the most valuable skill is learning how to learn. We must teach students to unlearn, to relearn, and pivot careers multiple times. And the fourth solution is collaboration and cross-cultural communication. By 2030, we should work on being global and virtual. And as Botswana student may co-design a solution with peers in India, Brazil, Japan, or America. Skills interchange programs between chief officers can build this early through virtual team projects. So I think that's the most critical part, and that's my resolution that I'm submitting in this summit today. So to work together as chief officers all over the world and exchange programs, skills, and knowledge. My fifth solution is creativity and innovation. AI handles repetition. So humans create value through new ideas, design thinking, and entrepreneurship. So we must move from memorizing textbooks to building something which is very new. So the last one is emotional intelligence and human-centered values. Empathy, leadership, conflict resolution, and ethics. As machines get smarter, human connection becomes our competitive advantage. So these skills ensure technology serves people, not the other way around. So that is my opinion.
Thank you so much, Dr. Oliver. We really appreciate you sharing such compelling insights and your perspective. And we understand, we did introduce you at the beginning of the panel and alert everyone that we knew some of our panelists were globally and maybe perhaps facing technical difficulties. So thank you once again for making the time and joining us. We know we have a very busy schedule, so thanks for making the time and sharing your participation. And it's wonderful to see you. Moving on to our next panelist, I'd like to welcome to the virtual podium, Dr. Krupta Mehta. The podium is yours.
Hi. So thank you so much, Virginia, and all the team member, and namaste from India and hello from USA. So basically, I'm into education more than 15 years, and I have seen lots of technological changes nowadays. But one thing is common, that is human touch. That all we agree as we are like great educators. So, one-to-one skill set and one-to-one mentoring and one-to-one support to the students and guidance, because right now I'm interacting so much students across the global. So they were in rosy picture, which is relevant to the university and education. They are not understanding the reality. So as a being a great mentor, educators, we can provide that learning to the students along with technological innovation and change. And second thing is which we can provide in terms of the innovation and human-centric learning, we can teach them the kindness and the knowledge, real knowledge, and then they can implement and execute in real and day-to-day activities. So being a student, if they can do that activities and everything, they can learn more, they can think something different, and we can develop the habit of reading at least 2, 3, 5 pages daily apart from technological innovation, so that they can develop the brain or they can execute as well. So one thing as a part of the education system, we need to adopt, that is communication. Whatever the language is not the barrier, but yeah, we need to communicate daily to our students, to working professional, to the kids, so that we need to understand what's going on his or her mind. And based on that, we can execute the different activities, the technology and everything, because everyone is different and every student is different. So that one-to-one coaching and counseling, if we can provide in regular basis, so that we can like impact more, we can develop good human being into the society along with technological and innovation skill set. So that is from my side. Thank you so much, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Once again, thanks for your time and thank you for
Thank
your compelling comments and perspective. And our final speaker on our panel, we'll try once again, is Hara Gandour from Lebanon. Hara, can you hear us now?
Yes, hello,
Welcome,
and I'm
welcome.
so sorry for this
No,
inconvenience.
no apologies needed. We're just so delighted to have you. And I know I've seen you come in and
Uh,
out. So the virtual podium is yours. If you
so
want a reminder, how do we prepare our learners for a future we yet can't imagine?
yeah, I will try to combine question one and two together. First,
Sure.
I would like to send my apologies and my regards to all the colleagues and educators here. And thank you for this opportunity once again. When we talk about preparing learners for 2030 and beyond, we cannot separate future skills from technology and AI, which is now a must for all students and something in their hands. The two are deeply connected and interconnected. Many people believe that the most important skill of the future will be coding and programming or mastering artificial intelligence. While these skills are so valuable, I believe the real question is not what technology can do, but when humans can do with technology. How can technology help our students excel? How it can help our children master their life? Knowledge is no longer scarce. Information is available everywhere, anytime, for anyone. Artificial intelligence can retrieve facts in seconds. Therefore, education must move beyond teaching students what to know and focus on teaching them how to think. The most important skills of the next decade will be critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, adaptability, connectivity, collaboration, communication, and a growth mindset. These are the skills that allow children to navigate change, solve real world issues, and continue learning throughout their lives to become long life learners. This is also where technology and AI have an important role to play. AI should not replace the humans. We want to keep our students confident enough that AI is helping them innovate and is not going to replace them at all. AI should not replace human intelligence, it should amplify it. Technology should help students learn more efficiently how to save time and effort, how to think smart. access opportunities, and focus on higher order thinking rather than routine tasks. The goal of education should not be to produce students who compete with machines. It should be to produce students who know how to use machines smartly, intelligently, ethically, and creatively to solve the issues in the world. In other words, we need to move from an education system that rewards memorization to one that rewards innovation and progress. Self-improvement is very important. We need learners who ask better questions rather than simply memorize better answers and search for quick answers. We need learners who embrace diversity, who appreciate connectivity, who collaborate across cultures and countries, and continuously learn from others without losing their belongingness and identity. Because the future will no more belong to those who know the most information. It will be for those who can learn, adapt, solve problems, use technology wisely, work together to create a better world. That's why I often say we do not simply compete against each other. We are there to complete each other. And that's how we should use technology to connect us wisely. And education must focus on developing those minds every single day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hara. Thank you. Your words are so inspiring. Thank you for leaving us with such important perspective. We really appreciate your time, and we really acknowledge and honor that we know that you are dealing with some difficulties in your country, and yet your perseverance keeps you here, as well as Maha. So we appreciate you being present with us today. And with that, we're going to move on. I like to, before we move on, thank all of our distinguished panelists, as well as everyone else in attendance. Your ideas remind us that preparing learners for tomorrow requires courage, innovation, and collaboration today. So we now continue with our program and with a series of inspiring keynote presentations.
I'm going to interrupt you. I think Jeanette, do you want to say something?
Yeah, what I wanted to say is that
Yes.
in this, I'm so sorry, is that there's one thing in the creation and the development of the student, of how we're going to prepare them. And remember, we must remember, so I am the chancellor of the International Institute of Leadership and Strategic Management. And one thing that we find and that we found and continue finding is that the first learning of a child is at home. So we also have to pay attention and help the mothers at home, because those are the first teachers. So we have to also equip them with tools so that they can send off their children to our hands. But they are, so they're coming with what they learn at home to us. And that's where we are the tools to reshape them. But we also have to help those at home, because that's the first learning that they receive. And I just wanted to share that, because we can't leave them behind. Yeah, the future is for the kids, but we have to help that foundation that they have, to help them develop and develop themselves as well. Remember, women and men, but women, that we are the force, we are the ones that are, pushing. So we have to reinforce the women that are home teaching their children, because we have to provide them with tools as well. So that's what I wanted to share.
Absolutely. Thank you for that important reminder. And I personally couldn't agree more. And I'm sure that is a sure feeling from everyone in this group. Very important observation. Thanks again for reminding us. And now we're moving on with our featured speakers for this evening. We will hear from a wonderful group of speakers. Our first featured speaker believes that education creates opportunity and transforms communities. Please help me welcome Mona Shawan to the virtual podium. The podium is all yours.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It's an honor to join educators, policymakers, researchers, and leaders from all around the world. Today, I would like to explore a question that I believe will define the future of education. How do we move from providing access to education toward creating meaningful impact? For many years, our efforts focused on connectivity, devices, and enrollment. While these remain important, they are no longer enough. The real challenge is ensuring that every learner experiences growth, belonging, and success. That is where responsible artificial intelligence can help. I would like to begin with a personal story from Lebanon. During periods of crisis, many schools focused on ensuring access. They distributed devices, established internet connections, and adopted digital platforms. At first, it felt like progress, but very quickly we realized something important. Students were connected, but not necessarily learning. The screens were on, but engagement was declining. Access alone didn't solve the deeper challenges of motivation, support, belonging, and meaningful learning. That experience taught me a powerful lesson. Technology is valuable, but transformation happens when technology is combined with human-centered pedagogy. So what we experienced in Lebanon is not unique. In fact, it reflects a much larger challenge facing education systems around the world today. The challenges we face today are not limited to one country. Across the world, millions of learners still struggle to achieve foundational literacy and numeracy skills. Many children remain outside formal education systems because of conflict, displacement, poverty. At the same time, teachers are experiencing increasing workloads and growing expectations. And in many places, technology is being distributed without sufficient training or any support or instructional vision. The challenge before us is not simply increasing access. It's creating systems that turn access into meaningful outcomes. These realities force us to ask an important question. Are we measuring what truly matters in education, or are we measuring what is simply easy to count? For many years, educational success was measured through access metrics. How many students are enrolled? How many devices have been distributed? How many hours are spent online? These metrics matter, but they don't tell us whether learning is happening. Impact requires different questions. Are students mastering concepts? Are they developing critical thinking? Do they feel a sense of belonging? Are they becoming confident and independent learners? The future of education requires us to shift our attention from infrastructure alone to learning outcomes. Unfortunately, many systems still don't have access with the success. Yet, experience has shown us that access alone rarely guarantees meaningful learning. There is a common assumption that technology automatically improves education. The reality is more complicated. A digital worksheet remains a worksheet. A digital textbook remains a textbook. Technology doesn't transform learning by itself. Transformation occurs when educators intentionally redesign learning experiences. As leaders, teachers, educators, policymakers, we must ask, are we investing more in technology than in teacher capacity and instructional quality? Because technology without pedagogy rarely delivers meaningful impact. So if technology itself is not the solution, then where does artificial intelligence fit? The answer lies in how we choose to use it. So artificial intelligence represents a unique opportunity because it replaces educators, not because it automates everything, but because it can amplify human capacity. Responsible AI can help us personalize learning, provide timely feedback, identify learning gaps, and support educators in making informed decisions. The goal is not automation. The goal is empowerment. AI should strengthen human potential rather than replace it. So one of the most promising opportunities of responsible AI is its potential to make education more inclusive and responsive to individual learners' needs. At the same time, AI introduces important risks. So without careful planning, technology can actually increase inequality. Schools with limited resources may be left behind. Algorithms may reinforce existing biases. Data privacy concerns may emerge. This is why AI governance matters. Technology should never become the primary decision maker. Human judgment must remain central. Teachers, leaders, and communities must always retain responsibility for educational decisions. This is why we must move beyond assumptions and fears and what the research and evidence are actually telling us. So, when discussing AI, we should move beyond opinions and focus on evidence. Research consistently shows that technology is most effective when integrated into strong pedagogical models. AI tools that encourage thinking, reflection, and feedback produce stronger results than tools that simply generate answers. So the lesson is clear. What should invest in learning science, not just technology? We should prioritize educational outcomes over technological novelty. So there is another question we must address. Can these innovations benefit only well-resourced schools, or can they support learners everywhere? One concern I often hear is that AI is only relevant for wealthy schools. I disagree. In fact, some of the greatest opportunities exist in low-resource contexts. AI can support translation, tutoring, teacher preparation, personalized learning at low cost. The question is not whether schools have perfect infrastructure. The question is how we design solutions that reduce inequality rather than reinforce it. As leaders, we must ensure that innovation reaches those who need it most. To answer that question, I developed a simple framework that helps leaders think strategically about responsible implementation. So, to help guide implementation, I developed the impact framework, which is I for inclusion first, measure what matters, personalized pathways, accountability in evidence, capacity building, trust, and governance. This framework reminds us that successful AI integration is not about technology adoption. It's about creating systems that are equitable, measurable, sustainable, and human-centered. A framework is valuable only when it informs real decisions. So this brings us to one of the most shifts educational leaders must make. One area where AI can be particularly valuable is learning analytics. Imagine identifying disengagement before a student drops out. Imagine recognizing learning gaps before they become learning failures. Imagine providing support at the right moment rather than months later. Analytics should function like an early warning system. They should help educators to intervene earlier, support students more effectively, and make better informed decisions. At the same time, AI is challenging one of education's most established practices, the way we assess learning. Artificial intelligence now is forcing us to rethink assessment. If AI can generate answers, then our role is no longer simply evaluating answers. We must evaluate thinking. We must assess reasoning, reflection, creativity, collaboration, and of course, problem solving. The future of assessment is not about preventing AI use. It's about designing learning experiences that make human thinking visible. As assessment evolves, so does the role of the teacher, and that role has never been more important than it's today. The future of education is not human versus AI. It's human with AI. AI can process information quickly. It can automate repetitive tasks. It can provide immediate support, but it cannot replace empathy. It cannot replace ethical judgment. It cannot replace human relationships. Teachers remain the most important factor in meaningful learning. AI should then their work, not diminish it. So if teachers are central to this transformation, then leadership becomes the catalyst that determines whether change succeeds or fails. So technology implementation is ultimately a leadership challenge. Successful transformation begins with vision. It requires clear policies. It requires investments in teacher capacity. It requires responsible implementation, and it requires continuous evaluation. The question leaders must ask is not what technology should we buy. The better question is what educational outcomes are we trying to achieve. The good news is that many schools and systems have already begun this journey, providing valuable lessons that we can learn from. So if we truly want impact, we must measure impact, not the clicks, not logins, not screen time. We should measure learning growth, students' agency, teacher effectiveness, equity, belonging, well-being. These are the indicators that tell us whether education is genuinely improving lives. As we look ahead, I would like to leave you with the 3 simple ideas. Access opens the door. Inclusion invites every learner inside. Impact changes lives. And so I would like to leave you with one final reflection that captures the heart of this entire conversations. Every child deserves more than access to education. Every child deserves opportunity. Every child deserves belonging. Every child deserves hope. The true measure of education and innovation is not what technology can do. It's what learners can become because of it. So thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to continuing this important conversations together. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mona. Thank you. Your words were so inspiring. And thank you for leaving us with those important reminders. Thank you once again for those great highlights. And moving on, we now would like to introduce to our featured speakers. Our next speaker is an educator and advocate whose commitment to educational excellence continues to inspire learners throughout the region. Please welcome Manal Ashkar to the virtual podium. It is all yours, Manal.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening. I am so grateful for the opportunity to be part of this educational platform. It's my great pleasure to be taking part in these insightful discussions that usually where we can share our insights, we can share our experiences as educators from across the globe. Thank you once again. In my presentation, I'd like to shed light on how we are transforming nowadays our classrooms in a way that they can prepare learners for a challenging and changing world. So as we all know, many of the jobs that we have nowadays won't be there in 2030, for example. So we are, when educating students, we are keeping in our minds that we are now just preparing students for a future that does not exist at the time being, for jobs that do not exist now, but will soon be dominant in our world, like in 2030. So the question is how are we preparing students for such a rapidly changing workplace? How is our role as educators important in helping students master the skills needed for such rapidly changing world, and what's the role of schools? So just a minute, please. Okay, so let's imagine now we have a grade 1 student graduating in 2040. This means that, of course, he's going to be living in a world which is completely different from nowadays. So we need to keep in our mind as educators, what challenges will such graduates face? What skills do they need? How can we help them thrive in a completely changing world, in a rapidly a technology impacted world, especially with the domination of AI, as my colleagues just mentioned. So as we all know, the future is changing rapidly. Nowadays, education is no longer about how much the student knows, what knowledge he or she knows. It's about developing certain skills and preparing learners to be future ready, to be to make sure that they are globally competent, they are global citizens, to have the skills that are needed for the 21st century. So now we are talking about how we need to develop such learners to be adaptable, resilient, and critical thinking learners. So taking this into consideration, we need to shed light on some factors that are affecting the education. For example, AI, as Dr. Mona and other colleagues mentioned. So AI is changing the framework of education. So that's why we need to take into consideration that we need to make good use of AI alongside the presence of the teacher. So we cannot ignore the role of the teacher, because AI would never ever replace human beings, would never ever replace educators. So the point is, how can educators use AI in order to facilitate the learning nowadays? Even for example, as an educator, I believe that we as educators have to train students how to use AI in the correct way. So because whether we agree or not, whether we accept it or not, now all learners are using ChatGPT, Claude AI, DeepSeek, and so on. So the point is how we can, as educators, teach them to use AI in a proper way that helps them, especially that we teach them how to use the AI ethically, how to use AI to get information, but reshape the information and redesign the content in their own way, and how to understand the content that they get sometimes from ChatGPT or whatever. Another point we need to talk about is globalization. Nowadays, we are living in an interconnected world. So this demands, of course, certain skills that, for example, collaboration, communication. Even now we are teaching in multinational schools or international schools where we can talk about cultural diversity, which is greatly important. So we need to prepare all learners to have, for example, the ability to mingle with other cultures, to understand the cultural diversity, to work on the well-being of themselves and the others as well. So all of this is greatly important in our educational system nowadays, and it should be part of all educational policies so that we can prepare students for the future. And as we previously said, we are witnessing nowadays rapid technology change. So I believe as an educator that any educator or any teacher who's not able to use AI properly or won't learn to use AI will be left behind. So as Dr. Mona said, AI won't replace teachers, and we should work along human beings along with AI. We should make good use of AI, because if we are not now ready to use technology in our classrooms, if we are not ready to, for example, engage our students through digital platforms, digital games, then we will feel that we are left behind and as if we are still outdated. Also, the workforce now demands are changing, because nowadays, as we said, we are preparing learners to be global citizens who can master global competences, who can understand others' perspectives, who have or can master the 21st century skills that are creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, communication, problem solving, life skills. So also one important point I would like here to shed light on, when we enter our classrooms as educators, we should not only focus on the objectives of the lesson. We should always make connections between our lessons and the real life. And we should also make students understand what are the real life skills that they will learn from these lessons. And the focus now is on the learning outcomes, which is much more important than focusing on the content itself. So the new competency core, okay, says that memorization is no longer a competitive skill. What the future nowadays belongs to those who can think, connect, and create. So it's demanded now from the future learners to have cognitive skills, to be able to create, to think critically, to solve problems that are complicated, to learn how to connect their education or what they are learning to their real life skills or real life world. Okay, so, and of course, in order to expect learners to bloom, okay, we need to work first on their, let's say, Maslow. So I believe that we can never expect our students to bloom if they don't Maslow first. What does this mean? It means that before we expect our students to be critical thinkers or innovators, we need to make sure that their well-being or their needs are met. So that's why well-being is very important. And in order to help students to have their well-being, I believe that educators need to have certain social, emotional activities every day integrated into their classrooms. They should teach students interpersonal skills. They should teach learners emotional intelligences. So these are all core competences demanded nowadays. And also nowadays, to get learners ready for the future, it's very important to shift from the passive learning strategies to the active learning strategies, which are more important because they engage students, they make sure everyone belongs to the classroom. And I would like to stress one idea Dr. Mona mentioned, which I greatly believe is very important, which is inclusion. When we speak about inclusion, it's not about only like having students from cultural differences or multicultures, or no, inclusion also, we are talking about students who have learning difficulties, how we can shape the classroom so that we can meet their needs, how we can meet the needs of those who are autistic, those who have ADHD, those who have Down syndrome. So inclusion also means that every learner has the right to learn. No one is meant to be left behind. So, and we need to believe that if students cannot learn the way we teach, we have to teach the way they learn. So this is very important, and inclusion is greatly important and demanded nowadays. The essential competences for 2030, as we previously said, they are critical thinking and problem solving. Students need to be creative, to come up with new ideas, to be able to innovate, to like, for example, learn through inquiry-based approach. So they need also to learn how to communicate, how to collaborate, how to work in groups to maximize their efforts. Okay, they need also to be able to master using AI, to have digital literacy. And of course, we need to teach them how to have digital well-being, which is another important part of well-being I would like to stress on, in addition to the social well-being, physical well-being, emotional well-being, academic well-being. We need to teach students also digital well-being. We need to teach them how to set time for using the screen, how to use AI while protecting their data privacy. So all of these skills are now demanded to help students and get them ready for the future workplace. So, of course, it's highly important that, as we said, to teach students how to think critically, how to solve the problems. So information is available nowadays, but now the point is how we can help students analyze information, evaluate the sources they are using. For example, if we ask them to do like a certain project, like they need to evaluate what sources are important, what resources they need to use to get back to. They need to know or solve real life world problems. So this is how we can give enhance their critical thinking skills. Also, as we said, creativity or communication and collaboration. Okay, we need to teach students how to generate new ideas, how to design solutions, how to think beyond the traditional learners, how to be far-sighted, not to only think about the moment they are in. So also we need to teach them, as we said, how to accept others, how to have tolerance. We need to foster inclusion in all schools, because up till now, based on my experience in working as a trainer in different schools, I've noticed that some schools, like they say they are inclusive, but in fact they are not, because they still don't have or don't give chance for students who have autism or ADHD or Down syndrome or any other learning difficulties to mingle with the neurotypical. So the fact that we accept neurodivergent students among the neurotypical is the core of inclusion. So even if we accept students from different cultures or religions or languages or backgrounds, but we isolate those who have special educational needs, then inclusion is still not met. So we need to teach also, if we are in an inclusive school, for example, because I work in an inclusive school, we always teach our like neurotypical students how to accept the neurodivergent, how to communicate with them, how to collaborate once they are doing projects, how to listen to them effectively. These are the skills that are needed by future learners. And one important point is lifelong learning. So we are not teaching students for only like 1 month or 1 year to remember certain info and like forget it at the end of the year. We should always ask learners that, or make sure that our learners are getting sustainable learning. We are integrating, as I said, in every lesson, the skills that are needed for their lives. Like, for example, how to solve the problems, how to manage their time, how to communicate, how to communicate their ideas like professionally, how to collaborate, how to accept, as we said, others, how to mingle with those who are different. So all of these are important, and that's why, as we said, lifelong learning is greatly important and should be addressed in every lesson. Now, in relation or reference to all what I said here, I'd like to shed light on the OECD Learning Compass. And from its name, it's a learning compass. As we know, the compass helps the students navigate, okay? So the OECD Learning Compass is a framework that helps learners navigate uncertainty, overcome tensions, create a new value in their society. So it usually focuses on three common core competences, as we said, the critical thinking, innovation, and problem solving. So here it's important to know that we are preparing learners to have three foundational core competences, to be responsible ones, as we said, okay? So to act responsibly, to have knowledge, but yet to use this knowledge responsibly, as we said, like when we teach them how to integrate or how to use AI, and how to make good use of what they know. According to OECD, by the way, it's not important now what the student knows. What counts is that who the student becomes. And that's why here we need also to give attention to attitudes and values. We need to, as we said, develop learners who are global citizenship, who are global citizens, who have global competences, who can navigate the world, understand different perspectives, communicate with others in order to solve global problems. And also we need to make sure that our learners are taking action. Okay, they need to create a new value, they need to collaborate, And also they need to work on all their type of skills, like the cognitive skills, the metacognitive skills, the social emotional skills. So all of these are important. For all of this in mind, future ready learners should be ones who are having a well-being and well-developed character. And this character is mainly based on these descriptions, or let's say criteria: resilience. So students need to learn how to be resilient, how to accept the new changes, how to be able to assimilate themselves into a fast or a rapidly changing world. We need also to teach them empathy. And this is one of the social emotional skills that we can target through social emotional learning activities. For example, when we teach teachers, when we guide teachers to use social emotional learning activities, we are targeting empathy, which is very important nowadays, especially when it comes to schools, as we said, that are inclusive or that have multicultural or cultural diversity. We also need to teach students to be having integrity, which is important because this reflects their honesty, their real reality in their abilities, in the way they are, the way they act, the way they behave. We need to teach them how to self-manage their emotions. They need to have self-management. They need to learn how to control their anger or their fear or their anxiety. For example, many students might panic or feel afraid if they are going to have an exam. So we need to teach them self-management, how to manage their emotions or how to manage their fears. Of course, all of this, as I said, can be done through social emotional learning activities. And finally, future learners should be ones who are global citizens. As we said, they understand, or they can understand the world. They can act locally, but they need to think globally of everything before they act locally. So based on all of this, of course, the role of schools must change. So now the schools should shift from what do students know to what students can do with what they know. So the point is how I can help students use or take advantage of their knowledge in order to gain the skills demanded, especially when we engage them in inquiry-based learning activities, hands-on learning activities, and as we mentioned, all the skills we talked about. So now we need to make sure that our students are authentically learning. They are experiencing their learning through or integrating it in their real life. We need to give chance for students to work on projects, to collaborate, to communicate, to change the classroom into project-based learning activities, because this is really important. Here they are, as we said, we are targeting the skills of communication, collaboration, discovery, inquiry. So all of this matters. In order to make sure that students are really worth, or they feel that we really care for them, we should also make sure we listen to their voice, like students' councils, for example. When we give students the chance to lead certain conferences at schools, to make certain initiatives, they will feel that we are really listening to their opinion. They would be happy, and plus we are preparing them to have these leadership skills. Also, real world problem solving. As we said, we need to give all the time scenarios to our students that are taken from real life and ask them, what would you do if this happens to you? How would you act if you were in this place? And so on. And we need to make sure that they are using technology, as we said, in a meaningful way, because now we cannot ignore the fact that everyone is using technology. So every learner is using technology, and we have to keep this in mind. Now, what do students or those future-ready learners demand? They demand spaces, flexible spaces. So as you can see here in this picture, we need to change sometimes the seatings of students, because we need to make sure they are better seated in groups. For example, I know that based on my experience in accreditations, how accreditations care about seeing students seated in groups, having different roles, like one should be note taker, presenter, timekeeper, leader. So we should always make sure that the seats or the spaces are dynamic, okay, are like, students would feel like they are seated in a safe environment and in an environment that nurtures discussions and where they can collaborate and work together. Okay. Also, we need to work on the digital infrastructure. Some schools already are changing digitally. Okay, already some schools are working now, like for example, now here in Bahrain, we can see that many schools are shifting to be digital schools. This means they are shifting or investigating more in digital libraries and creating innovation labs and in having collaborative platforms that extend beyond the classroom. And finally, we need to have interdisciplinary design. This means we need to break down subject silos to design curriculum around real-world cross-cutting outcomes. As we previously mentioned, now the outcome is more important. What we expect students to learn or the outcomes we want is much more important than the objectives we have in mind. That's why now we can see that we are shifting our teaching strategies based on what I said. I would like to say that now we see that we shift our teaching strategies into using UDL and UBD, which are very important approaches in education. And I guess that all teachers should use these approaches when catering their lessons or preparing their lesson. So we need to equip students to thrive in a future. And as we said, to have skills to develop their mindset, to develop their character to thrive in the future. And our role as educators is not simply to teach students what to think, but to empower them to learn, to adapt, innovate, and lead. Thank you, everyone, for your attention. And I'm grateful. Again, I would like to thank you all because you gave me the opportunity to share this discussion with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mahal. Thank you for such an incredible presentation. It was phenomenal. And I greatly appreciate especially the point about inclusion and everything else you share. Very insightful. Lots
Thank
to
you so much.
digest.
I am really grateful. It's my
Thank
pleasure.
you. It is
Yeah,
our
I
pleasure
wanted
as
to
well.
say that definitely you brought so much information, and I really hope that we can share this again. Maybe in a solo presentation with you and really discuss it further. But thank you for bringing such a quality presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Outstanding, as well as the rest of our speakers. And moving on with another of our featured speakers, we're now look forward to hearing from Dr. Gupta Mehta. She's a distinguished academic advocate for educational innovation, whose work encourages future-focused learning and leadership. Dr. Mehta, the virtual podium is all yours.
Yeah, hi. So I would like to highlight just one point as a part of the education system, which I have seen since more than 15 years. It's like examination policy. So every student is different and mindset is different. So at least we can focus on, different subject for different kind of students with the category and division wise we can divide. And examination also we can take normal grade wise based on the knowledge and skill set. It's not like out of 100 students get like ABC or 1, 2, 3. So at least they can understand at least for 5 or 6 standard. So at least they can understand we all are same, so they can grow better, they can develop the brain set, and they can execute well. There is no competition at all. So that is what the I would like to highlight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Mehta. And now we are moving on to our final featured speaker. We look forward to hear this evening from someone who's an educator who believes meaningful learning transforms lives and strengthens communities. Please help me in welcoming Melissa Esposito to the virtual podium. Melissa, the virtual podium is all yours.
Thank you. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. I'm sharing my screen. Okay. Let's start. Distinguished global leaders, innovators, esteemed educators, and change makers from around the world. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. It's an absolute honor to share this virtual stage with all of you today. We are rightly exploring powerful tools like artificial intelligence and digital transformation. These technologies are fascinating and essential. They offer unprecedented opportunities to scale access to learning. However, as we look toward 2030 and beyond, I would love to build upon these insights by adding another layer to our collective vision. While we focus on preparing our students to understand and master technology, we must also ask ourselves an equally vital question. How do we ensure that we are nurturing the qualities that make our learners deeply, undeniably, and powerfully human? This is what I like to call the human premium. It is not a concept that replaces digital literacy, but rather the ultimate foundation that gives technology its true value. In a world where machines will increasingly handle data, our unique human traits become our greatest asset. Today, I want to explore how we can work together to ensure that our educational systems celebrate this profound human potential. To understand why we need this shift, we must examine the structural collapse of our traditional educational models. For centuries, institutional education was built on a framework of scarcity. Information was scarce, books were expensive, and knowledge was locked inside university walls. The teacher was the ultimate gatekeeper of that knowledge. And the student's entire job was to sit quietly, absorb facts, and repeat them during an exam. But today, in 2026, we live in an era of absolute information hyperabundance. Hard knowledge has become a global commodity. It is free, it is infinite, and it is available in less than 2 seconds to anyone with an internet connection. By the time we reach 2030, the market value of a pure technical memorization will be exactly zero. A computer will always know more medicine than a human doctor, more case law than a human attorney, and write basic code faster than a human software engineer. Therefore, future-ready education must perform a radical transition. We must move from teaching students what to think to cultivating how they choose to live and react. If an educational system can be entirely replaced by a well-prompted AI chatbot, then that system is already obsolete. We must stop evaluating our students based on how much they look like a hard drive and start inspiring them based on their capacity to bring unique human perspective to complex, chaotic problems. So let's us map out what a truly future-ready human looks like in the next decade. What are the skills that will remain unautomable? They are not found in software manuals. They are found in the depths of human consciousness. I propose 3 core human capabilities that no algorithm can simulate, and that every school curriculum must prioritize immediately. The first is ethical courage and contextual judgment. Artificial intelligence can provide hyper-efficient answers based on past data patterns, but it possesses no moral compass. It cannot understand the concept of justice. It cannot feel fairness, and it cannot comprehend human dignity. As the global economy automates, future leaders will not be judged by their ability to generate data, but by their courage to look at an automated report and say, the algorithm tells me this choice is highly profitable, but my human ethics tell me it is profoundly wrong. We must train students to manage the moral responsibility of technology. The second skill is intellectual friction, which is the advanced form of critical thinking. We live in a world dominated by algorithms designed to feed us exactly what we want to hear, trapping our youth in dangerous ideological echo chambers. Future-ready education must teach students how to welcome disagreements, how to question the validity of our sources, and how to embrace intellectual friction. They need to learn that truth is not found in a quick automated summary, but throughout the hard work of analyzing opposing viewpoints. The third and perhaps most vital skill is radical empathy and mental well-being. Our world is more digitally connected than ever. Yet, we are experiencing a global epidemic of youth anxiety and social fragmentation. Connection without empathy is just digital noise. And we cannot expect students to innovate if they are burning out under the pressure of a hyper-competitive world. The ultimate workforce skill of 2030 is the deeply human ability to build trust across diverse cultures, to collaborate across geographical borders, and to protect one's own mental health while actively listening to the lived experiences of others. This brings us directly to the shared mission of the Peyush Group family, the international and the world international university and the world education policy framework. We must completely rethink the timeline of learning. We must officially and courageously declare the death of a linear career. The 20th century model where a person would study for 20 years, work in one industry for 40 years, and then retire is ancient history. A student graduating from our universities in 2030 will not just change jobs. They will likely change entire economic sectors, 4 or 5 times throughout their working life. And industries will emerge and vanish in the span of a single decade, as we know. Therefore, the greatest, most honest gift we can give a learner today is not a specific set of technical answers, but the psychological resilience to learn, unlearn, and relearn. We must transform our global universities from static educational factories that stamp out final degrees into fluid, dynamic lifespans of constant learning. We need to teach our youth to become comfortable with ambiguity and change. Being future ready does not mean predicting what the world will look like in 2030. It means being secure enough in your core human capabilities to face a world you cannot possibly predict without losing your identity or your purpose. If the role of the student changes, the role of the educator must transform as well. In a world where AI can deliver content, the teacher is no longer a lecturer. The teacher becomes a mentor, a coach, and an emotional anchor. We must realize that the human connection between a teacher and a student is something no technology can ever replicate. An AI can grade an essay, but it cannot see the spark of curiosity in a student's eyes. It cannot notice when a young person is struggling with self-doubt, and it cannot offer the words of encouragement that can alter the course of a young life. Future educational policies must relieve teachers from the burden of repetitive administrative paperwork throughout automation, precisely so they can spend their valuable time doing what they do best, building deep, meaningful human relationships with their learners. The future of education relies on empowering our educators to be human mentors first, and content delivers second. But as global leaders, educators, and policymakers gathered at this summit, we must also anchor our vision in reality. We cannot have a serious conversation about future-ready education without addressing the bitter reality of global inequality. If the future of learning is defined purely by expensive digital tools, advanced software, and high-speed connectivity, we are not innovating. We are simply creating the largest, most dangerous geopolitical divide in human history. While we'll discuss advanced AI tools in this global live stream, millions of students around our world still lack access to stable electricity, basic textbooks, or safe school buildings. True innovation is not about building an elite tech laboratory in a wealthy capital city. True innovation is about creating democratic open access frameworks that ensure the most vulnerable communities are not left behind in a pre-digital past. Global collaboration cannot just be a beautiful catchphrase we print on our marketing brochures. It must be a practical, legal, economic pipeline where educational resources, open sources, knowledge, and progressive policies flow freely across borders to democratize opportunity. We cannot prepare humanity for the future if we only prepare a privileged minority. The vision statement for day 2 of this summit states something beautiful. Tomorrow's conversation is not just about education. It's about the future of humanity. There is no statement more accurate than this. Education is the only conscious mechanism that the human race has ever designed to actively shape its own evolutionary path. What we do in our classrooms and our policy boards today determines the character of our species tomorrow. When we step back into our institutions after this summit, let us refuse to look at our students as empty corporate vessels waiting to be filled with the technical code. Let us look at them for what they truly are, the authors of the next chapter of human history. Let us promise that will not reduce their education into a mere training camp for digital efficiency. Let us build an international educational ecosystem that fiercely protects their curiosity, safeguards their mental wellness, and honors their cultural diversity, and ignites their unique potential. Let us prepare them to lead, not just to adapt, to innovate, not just to repeat, and above all else to remain human. Thank you very much, all. And this is the quote with which I conclude my speech. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And it has been said by Nelson Mandela. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that powerful quote, and thank you for sharing such compelling words. Thank you for the important reminders that you share with us and the call to action. And I also want to thank all of our phenomenal speakers today, just like Melissa and everyone that shares such important words that we must all come to digest now and create the framework and the mechanisms to put them into action. And Bridget, it looks like you want to speak.
Yeah, Professor Charles is here with us. He's going to give us 2 or 3 minutes of his thoughts, and he will be our last speaker for today.
Absolutely. We will welcome our final speaker, our final reflection of the day. And to offer our final academic reflection, it is my great honor to introduce the Vice Chancellor of the International Internship University. He's a distinguished scholar, educator, and a global leader who has dedicated his career to advancing higher education across Africa and beyond. Please help me welcome Professor Charles Aboria. The virtual podium is it's yours.
Able and excellent moderator, able Dr. Bruno. I need to appreciate you for everything you have done so far. God will appreciate you also. God will bless you, all the speakers. I thank God for every one of you. Well spoken. And I appreciate God for you all. Our Chief Executive Officer, I need to appreciate you, Dr. Virginia, for this good initiative as a president. I appreciate you a lot. I appreciate the executive director also, Dr. Mahab, our able and excellency. I appreciate every one of you. I just want to chip in 1 or 2 things, and God will continue to strengthen us. It's always good to prepare learners for 2030 and beyond. What are those things we need to look at? We need to look at what God said we should do, who created us into this world. He created us to know Him, to love Him, to serve Him, to be happy with Him in this world and thereafter. By the time we are able to do this, I am telling us that we are preparing for that year, 2030 and above or beyond. We need to have compassion. Everything we do, we should be with compassion. We need to be able to communicate with one another effectively. And we need to also collaborate. These are key things which are so paramount that everyone should be able to exhibit. We also have the word God has asked us to do. What is He telling our Creator? What is He telling us to do? We need to be a steward to communicate that message, to tell people about it. It is so very, very important. We also need to teach the 17 global goals through faith-based devotion. Faith-based devotion. What do I mean by that? You need to make people to be sustainable, to live sustainably, to be able to know how to end poverty, to be able to know how to end every hunger everywhere, to know how to have a good health and well-being. We need to let people know how to have quality education. We need to let people know, teach them about gender equality, how to have clean water and sanitation, very important, how to have affordable and clean energy, how to have decent work and economic growth. Teach them how to have a good industry innovation and infrastructure, how to reduce inequality. All these are very important. How to be sustainable, to have sustainable city and also community. How to have responsible consumption and production. How to take action on climate change. How to teach, we need to teach them the life below water, the life on land, and peace, justice, and strong institution. How to partner for the goal. These are so key, which if we don't do from the classroom, from the onset, I don't think we will be able to express themselves when they grow up. We need also to be practical in our community service, practical in the sense that have passion in whatever we are doing. We need to have that passion. We need to develop our character. Character information is so important, our character, because we relate with people. We make people lovely, let people be happy. When they see us, they smile, they're happy. These are key things we need to hold so as to be able to prepare learners for sustainable development 2030 and beyond. We need to also be build empathy and global awareness in our classroom, collaboration, reflections, which also help students how to reflect, how to reflect on things that will make them to be happy, look responsible when they grow up. We need to also tell them how to connect themselves, both horizontally, a relationship, how to meet and vertically relationship with God. All these are very, very key. They are key that we need to let them know. Everywhere in the classroom, in our offices, collaboration is very important. We encourage them instead of having what we call a competition. We collaborate. We don't need to compete. Everybody, nobody has anything. Every one of us, we are all struggling. Every one of us need each other. We need to collaborate. We need to embrace ourselves instead of fighting, competing. We don't need to compete. We need to fight. We need to collaborate. We need to tell them, let them know. The learners, they should be able to understand how to impart things to others so that the world, how to impart, to communicate, how to give messages, how to pass messages, how to be happy with others. We should tell the learners they should be able to build an ethical and problem-solving skill for pressing social issues. These are very, very paramount, which I'll be hearing, but I need to give emphasis to it. Also, action-related learning. Action, we need to take action, not just a traditional area of just, we move from traditional to action-oriented learning so that people will be, the learners will be able to know what they are doing passionately. We need to also, every child needs opportunity, just like one of the speakers said, every child needs opportunity, need belonging, need growth, and need hope. Yes, hope that it will be better. They need that growth. They need to grow from their learning point to adulthood to be able to be solid and strong. We need to prepare them for education in the area of innovation, in the area of creativity, in the area of leadership, in the area of artificial intelligence, in the area of lifelong learning and adaptability, in the area of skill for an interconnected world. We need to empower them with what we call digital communication. Many have said it: modern trade and traveling, events, ideas, decision in one location, and also extend to others, so as to have an impact with the people in the world. These are very, very, very important. It says, the book of Psalm 24, verse 1 said, "The head is the Lord's, and everything in it, the world, and all who live in it." Genesis chapter 2, verse 15 also tells us, "The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to walk it and to take care of it." Look at that. We need to take care of the health. Take care with everything we possess in the school, the classroom. Passionate about it. When we are given responsibility, we need to carry it out. Take care of it as if it's our own. So when our own call, we know how to adjust and do things rightly. Proverbs chapter 31, verse 8 also speaks of for those who cannot speak themselves for the rights, and all who are distincted. Those that cannot speak, we should be able to speak. We that can speak, we speak to them and teach them how to speak very well and how to do things so that they will not be cheated. We also, Galatians chapter 3, verse 28 also tells us there is neither Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor slave free, nor is there male or female, for you are all in one in Christ. We are all one. Nobody should discriminate about anybody. Nobody will make laughter of anybody. Nobody should be able to. We should work together. Work together, we shall achieve. That's why I like Sir Advocate Louis Panvid, who said that together we shall achieve everything we are doing. Nobody should be deprived of education. Nobody should be deprived of knowledge. Nobody should be deprived of skill. Those that have it should share it, collaborate. Those that don't have it should be able to collaborate and have it. All these are very important. And also the dimensions of interconnectedness in preparing learners is very, very important. Like the global challenge, like the cultural exchange, like the digital network, and also the economic globalization. These are very, very important so as to put in place, so as to make the world happy. We need to navigate economic ecosystem requiring highly adaptable skills like critical thinking and problem solving, like collaboration and network, like digital literacy, like cross-cultural communication and adaptability and resilience. All these are very, very important, which I feel all should be able to give out, let people know, so that the world will be at peace, so that the world will be very happy. We need education in innovation, in SDG. Yes, it is very important. We focus on transforming how we teach and learn to drive global sustainability. Very important. It equipped learners with green skill, promote equity, and also use technology to solve local and global challenges. These are very, very important, such as a primary accelerator for SDG 4, quality education. Also, innovation in education, it brings about reimagining learning. According to the UNESCO SDG Goal 4, said that it's always good we do what? We scale digital learning, lots of and expanding access to the most vulnerable learners. Those people that cannot, we should be able to teach them, let them know. We talk about climate action and green skill, like the UNESCO Education for Sustainable Development to program, empowering students to act responsibly regarding the environment and economy. Also, we talk about the economic growth. Research shows that 1 year of education increases wages earning by an average of 10%, with return being especially vital in the region like sub-Saharan Africa. What knowing that technical and digital solution is important, while leveraging on digital classroom, also the adaptive of AI to bridge learning device. All these are so key. And by the time we appreciate all these things, I'm telling us that we'll be able to impact the world. We'll be able to transform the world. We'll be able to make the world to know what it is to be educated. Based on basic learning is key. It is an essential initiative like Youth Press engage students in creating radio, television broadcasts around the SDG to address real world community issues. These are very, very important. And also education and leadership is so important. SDG is key. Involve directing academic institution to embrace sustainability into the curriculum, championing inclusive and equitable quality education, like equipping students with critical thinking, just like I said, and global citizenship skill necessary to address pressing and environmental, societal challenges. These are very, very key, of which is always good we embrace them. There are so many things, but I would like to round up by saying that we should embrace AI. AI is so important. AI is artificial intelligence. It brings about a vital role in the area of transformation so as to achieve our SDG 4. And also this is so by embracing or enabling personalized learning, expanding accessibility for marginalized groups, and assisting teachers with administrative tasks. AI also bridge critical thinking, gap, and help drive equity on the global scale. AI plays a very good important role, which helps us to make a lot of things, a lot of research, a lot of things which we need to embrace. It also connects to, AI also connects to things like SDG 8. We talk about decent work and economic growth. Also, SDG 5 about gender equality. Gender also talks about SDG 10 about reducing inequalities. All these are so important. It also brings about lifelong learning. It's good. We appreciate lifelong learning. As far as we are learning, whatever thing we have, we don't look at it as we have anything. We're just starting. Nobody has anything. Whatever degree, whatever qualification we have, we don't look at it. We are still learning. The world requires learning. By the time we start learning, I'm not telling you that we actualize that success. But if you stop learning, whatever thing we have, whatever we are, we stop learning, it doesn't speak well. It doesn't bring improvement. We need creativity. We need innovative. All these things are very important. That is what will sustain us in future. So many things, so many. But I just want to end it this way, that I appreciate every one of you, and I appreciate IIU. I appreciate all the speakers. I appreciate everyone. May God bless you all. May the blessing of God, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit rest upon every one of you and keep you safe from the hands of your enemy. In Jesus' name. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Boria. Thank you for those incredibly enlightening words and perspective you shared with all of us. We really appreciate your time and you being here. And I know I introduced you as our last speaker, but we do have one of our panelists that had some technical difficulties. So we would like to give her the opportunity and time to share her insights with us. And please join me in welcoming. She's an award-winning educator and multilingual academic leader with extensive experience across IB, Cambridge, IGCSE, and CBSE curricula. Please help me in welcoming to the virtual podium, Tio Akinola. Tio, the virtual podium is all yours.
Hi there, and good evening, and sorry again for the delay. And I'm really pleased to meet all of you. And first of all, I'd like to give a thanks to the organizers and all the people that made this global summit possible. I think it was amazing that we sit together next to so many amazing policymakers, educators, researchers, and leaders from all over the world. And congratulations for all the work. It's an honor for me to be here today. And I heard my previous speakers, and I was thinking that when we talk about future ready education, and we often focus on technology and artificial intelligence and jobs of tomorrow. And this, indeed, they are really important conversations. But I believe if we want to prepare the learners and if we want to prepare the world for 2030 and beyond, 2050 to 2100, we must also prepare them for the realities that are shaping the world of today. And what do I mean like that? First of all, two of the main things and realities that are shaping the world today are climate change and migration. And climate change is not only an environmental issue, it's an educational issue. And also, same, migration is not only a humanitarian issue, it's an educational issue. Why? Because the learners sitting in our classroom will be the generation that will face the consequences of both of these directly. They will make decisions, especially when it comes to climate change, about sustainable cities, renewable energy, climate adaptation, and environmental justice. Yet, many educational systems still treat climate education as a separate topic rather than a fundamental part of learning of our reality of these days. And I think also that future ready education should help learners understand that not only the science of climate change matters, but also the impacts on social level and on economical level. It should empower them to become problem solvers and innovators and active citizens that can contribute to building a more sustainable future. And as a climate activist and European Climate Pact ambassador, I have worked with young people that are really passionate about climate action. And what they need is not only awareness, they need opportunities to participate, innovate, and lead. And I think we should offer these opportunities as organizations, as companies, if we have the chance to give a student, a person that wants to learn something about one of the topics that we are experts in, we should do it. And same, I think education must go beyond teaching about problems and start empowering more the learners to create solutions, to be more applicable. Like we live in a world where also migration is increasingly shaping societies. We see all the changes in Europe. We see now with the Pact of Migration that most of the people, of course, they don't agree with. And we are still trying to find more solutions into how to make a better future for the people that already came and struggled and are making lives here. And people move usually because of conflicts, because of economic challenges, because of educational opportunities, and mostly and more recently about climate related events, as probably you saw today's news. And as a president of Diaspora Solidarity Group, I've been working with migrants and refugees and displaced communities, also displaced migrants, based on climatic themes. And yes, we don't see them next to them in the streets, but they are amongst us. There are still people that move from these areas. And something became very clear for me that, to be honest, I think that education is one, and not only one, I think the most powerful tool that we have for inclusion as well. Because when also migrants and refugees have access to quality education, they are not only gaining knowledge, they are gaining confidence, opportunities, community, and the sense of belonging. And for host communities, education creates same understanding and social cohesion and stronger societies. I think future ready education must therefore be inclusive education. It must prepare students for real life, to live and work in different societies. It must teach intercultural dialogue, empathy, and global citizenship, because we hear these terms, but we don't quite see it in practice. Because the future workforce will not only be digital, it will be more diverse and more interconnected. That's why I believe one of the most important skills we can teach is the ability to collaborate across cultures and perspectives. The challenges of the future, whether climate, migration, inequality, technological transformation, cannot be solved by only one person or one company or NGO or country alone. they require collaboration, and they require global thinking, and they require education systems that encourage young people to see themselves not only as citizens as their own country, but also citizens of a shared world. And what inspired me most regarding the Global Resilience Walk One initiative that brought participants from all over the world was the fact that we were united by a common purpose, and it reminded that also resilience is not built in silence and is built with connection. The same applies to education. I think the future belongs to learners who can really connect these ideas and these communities and connect solutions across borders. And as we prepare for 2030 and beyond, we need to know and to understand that education systems that are future ready, not only technological, they need to be also socially and environmentally. An education that equips learner with digital skills, but also with empathy, exactly as we were hearing before. Education that is teaching innovation, but also responsibility. Education that ensures that no learner is left behind, no matter where he comes from or what languages he's speaking. And I just want to leave you with one thought. I think the future is not something our young people will only inherit. It's something that they will build, as well as our grandparents and our parents, and also us contribute to building. But now our responsibility is to ensure that they have the knowledge, the skills, the values, and the opportunities to build a future that is sustainable, inclusive, and resilient. And I'd like to thank you very much, and thank you again for the opportunity to be part of this important conversation. And I look forward to be continuing listening and hearing all the amazing events that will follow through. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Tia. We appreciate your time and sharing all those important insights. Once again, thank you for your participation. And we do have a final speaker. We'd like to invite one of our featured speakers that was able to join us to just help us wrap up our program with some brief words. We'd like to invite Dr. Mansoon Al-Dazari to join us for a few minutes. He's a respected educator and thought leader whose work continues to inspire educational transportation. We welcome you to our virtual podium. It's all yours. I think you may be muted. Can you open your mic? We'll give you a few seconds. Maybe let us know if there's some technical difficulties on your end. You can feel free to contact us on the chat, and we'll be happy to open the mic for you. And we'll give you just a brief seconds. Okay, well, I am just going to honor everyone's time. I know we have been here a while, but it's been well worth our time as you've been here listening to all of our speakers over the past 2 remarkable days. We have welcomed voices from around the world, different cultures, different educational systems, different experiences, yet one shared purpose: to ensure that every learner has the opportunity to thrive. I now invite Dr. Virginia Rivera to join me as we reflect on the key insights and commitments emerging from the WEP Global Summit 2026. Dr. Virginia Rivera, the virtual podium, as always, is all yours.
Well, thank you so much, Maribel. You've done such a fabulous job. As we conclude the WEP Global Summit 2026, I would like to leave you with the very premise upon which we began this journey yesterday. We said that education will not be transformed by one country, one institution, one government, or one leader alone. It takes all of us to make this change. Before we officially conclude this summit, I would like to take a few moments to recognize 3 extraordinary leaders whose contributions have made these 2 days exceptional. First, I would like to start by giving thanks to our distinguished chief special guest, Her Excellency Ambassador Jeanette Mata. Thank you for honoring us with your presence, your wisdom, and your inspiring leadership today. Your lifelong commitment to human rights really inspires me personally. You represent peace, diplomacy, and education. And that reminds us all that meaningful change begins with courageous leaders, those that choose to collaborate over many times just trying to be the only star or the big leader. Your message encouraged us to continue building bridges across nations and sectors. Thank you for being with us today. It has also been a true privilege to see you continue to grow. So I see all you're doing, and we wish you the best in all of your endeavors. I would also like to express my sincere appreciation to Maha Shhadeh, our Executive Director of Global Affairs at the International Internship University, and also our WEP Chief Country Officer for Lebanon. Maha, your commitment to professionalism and your tireless work have been instrumental in helping me make this a complete success. I really appreciate your companionship, and most importantly, you really looking into being a great colleague, a real colleague. Thank you for everything that you've done. And finally, I want to recognize our outstanding host, Maribel Hopwood. She's our Communications and Media Officer for World Education Policy. Maribel, thank you for leading these 2 days with such grace, professionalism, warmth, and excellence. It is not easy to be there introducing people, especially when technical problems arise. You know, like you have somebody and you don't have them anymore, or you thought they were there, but they're no longer there anymore, and then you have to move. So it takes a lot of, takes a little matrix plane to get it all together, but I really appreciate everything you've done. You've done such amazing seamless transitions, your ability to connect voices from every corner of the world. I truly, truly am grateful. And Maribel is actually one of the fellows of our Global Festival 2025. So I just want you all to know that once you join us, you'll be with us forever. It would be, I think that what we've seen today has really made it clear that AI is here, machines are here, but it's the human connection that continues to help us thrive and grow. You know, I worked in a company, and I'm gonna share a little anecdote to show how important connection is. I worked for a huge global company, and in this global company's mission, they never mentioned the product that they sold. The mission was to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one community, and one cup at a time. At that time, I learned that we may sell many things, we may be from many countries, we will believe in many creeds, but there's one thing that unites us all, and that is our humanity. And I think after everything that we've seen today in all the countries that we have united today, we have over 27 countries between yesterday and today. I do hope that in our next one, we have 100, right? But the truth is that it's humanity that really unites us, and it's humanity that's going to propel us forward. We talked again and again about all the things that we need, but one thing we continue to say, to be critical thinkers. That is, you know, innately human. A machine can't do that. We do that. So I really want to invite you all to continue thinking about ways to bring education to every single one, every single person that deserves this inalienable birthright, because this is a
Can you hear Dr. Rivera? Can all of you hear Dr. Rivera? I think the screen froze. You can hear? Maybe it's on my end.
Screen froze.
The screen froze. Very well. I know Dr. Rivera is in Puerto Rico. She may be experiencing technical difficulties. So I'll jump in and say a few words as we begin to close this program, and hopefully she can join us and say her final goodbyes. But I'd like to share that as we conclude this historic summit, we extend our heartfelt appreciation to every single one of you, to every speaker, panelist, partner, volunteer, organizer, and participant. Your commitment reminds us that meaningful change begins when people choose to work together. Thank you for making this summit possible. And that is for each one of you in attendance today, and all of those speakers in attendance yesterday, as well as those that will be listening to this program later that have something to do with everything that WEP does. The WEP Global Summit 2026 has reminded us that education is more than preparing students for employment. It is about preparing humanity for the future. Together, we have explored new ideas, we have built new partnerships, we have inspired new possibilities, and made today's conversations become tomorrow's collaborations. May today's vision becomes tomorrow's reality. I thank you for joining us. We look forward to welcoming you again at a future WEP Education Policy Initiative. Until then, remember that one world, one education, one vision, together we build the future. Good evening, stay safe, and thank you to all of you. Thanks so much for your attendance and participation. I think Virginia is connecting. She may want to say a final word.
Yes, so that's why I'm not gonna end the session. Just give her 1
Yes,
second.
please don't end it. Virginia, I said some final words of appreciation, but I'd like to now offer the virtual podium so you can close our program for us. Thank you so much.
I really
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Maha. Thank you, Maha.
It happens to all of us, right?
Of
And
course.
I think that's why we needed like 7 people being co-hosts today, just in case something like this happens. But definitely, I just wanted to tell every single one of you how important it is. Okay, so Dr. Mansour, okay, hi. Thank you so much for being here with us. And the next one, you'll definitely participate. I want to talk about together we explored the transformation of education through global collaboration. We challenge ourselves to rethink the very foundations of education. We discuss the obsolescence of hard knowledge, recognize that information alone is no longer enough. We explored redesigning the infrastructure of education to create learning environments that are flexible, inclusive, and future-focused. We addressed the fallacy of device access, understanding that technology without purpose cannot transform learning. We defined the role of the educator, recognizing teachers not simply as providers of knowledge, but as mentors, coaches, innovators, and builders of human potential. We explored artificial intelligence, digital transformation, future skills, educational leadership, entrepreneurship, policy governance, peace building, and global collaboration. These were not simply presentations, they are all calls to action. So I really want to thank every single one of you for preparing your thoughts and bringing your presentations forward. Before we conclude, we would also like to extend our heartfelt thoughts and prayers to the people of Venezuela during this difficult time. As a global education community, we stand in solidarity with every nation facing hardships, and we know there's so many. I am so proud of our Lebanese here today and our representatives, because I know what you're going through and how hard it is. And definitely climate change is bringing this all over the world also. So may peace, hope, strength, and healing be with every family and community affected here and in every single one of the circumstances that are going around the world. Finally, I invite every educator, policymaker, innovator, researcher, civic organization, grassroots leader, parent, student, and institution listening today. This is my call to action. Join world education policy any way you can. Help us research, help us advocate, help us connect nations, help us influence policy, help us protect every child's fundamental right to quality education. The future will not wait. The challenges are too great. The opportunities are too important. And the responsibility belongs to every single one of us, because education will not change by one country, as we said before, or by one leader, or by one institution. It will be changed by a global movement of people who believe, and we all believe. There's a place for you in this movement. There's a place for you in this force of change. So please join us, and just remember, one world, one education vision, and together we can definitely build a future. Thank you. May God bless you all. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. It was a wonderful 2 days. And send your pictures. If you took pictures, please send them, and then I will post them all. Thanks again.
Thank you. Good evening.
Italy.
Goodbye, everyone.
Everywhere.
Virginia, I will end the session.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, goodbye.
Goodbye.